In my last video, I talked about Nisargadatta's teaching of abiding in the felt sense of I Amness. In this video, I want to explain a little bit more about this practice and also the pitfalls of it. Hey, my name is Christian. I'm a friend of the way, and I've been practicing Zen Buddhism for some years, and now I want to inspire your spiritual journey. The practice is actually quite simple. So from moment to moment, you return to your I Amness. That's pretty much it. But in this video, I want to speak more about what's happening during this practice and some potential difficulties of it. So whether we are conscious of it or not, we oftentimes seek understanding. We want to understand what this is, who we are, and everything else in the whole universe. But understanding is useless. When we talk about understanding something, we do not only split up reality into two parts, the object that must be understood, and the subject that understands it. But we also refer to something that appears and disappears. So therefore, we can trust our understanding. And oftentimes when we meditate, we think we understand something, we realize something, but it's only our small self attaching to some sort of insight. And then we identify with this insight. We might even think this insight is very special. But the Buddha said that everything is impermanent. So even your understanding is impermanent and therefore not absolute truth. That's why understanding cannot help you. And that's also why a practice such as abiding in one's I Amness is so powerful. Nisargadatta didn't tell his students to understand the I Amness, to figure it out. No, he just told them to sense into it and to abide in it. It basically means to return to your felt sense of I Amness in every moment. You turn your awareness from anything that's not your I Amness to your felt sense of I Amness. But what is this I Amness? How do I know? How do I know that I abide in the I Amness and not in some idea about it? So actually it's quite easy, but also quite difficult to do. It's easy because every object you can become aware of is not you, the subject. It's not the one who is looking. And it's difficult because we unconsciously attach to mental objects that make us believe this is me. And we might only discover later on, oh, I thought this was me. But it turns out that it was only a feeling, an idea I was identified with. Who am I? And this is pretty much the whole practice, in my opinion. So we have this one practice, abide in the I Amness. We turn our awareness from any object that is not the I Amness to the very sense of this is what most feels like myself. And in this process, you realize all the things that you are actually not. Maybe you thought you're male or female, so and so old, doing this or that, whatever. But then you see that your I Amness doesn't depend on that. Your I Amness is not conditioned by who you are on a relative level, or what you do, or even what you think of yourself. The felt sense of I Amness is way, way deeper. It's like pure light, like existence itself. In a sense, it's the most subtle landing place your awareness can land on. if you ask yourself this very question. So when you do this practice, you might come upon different objects you identify with. Your personality, your ego, your individual point of view. You will recognize these more egoic attachments or ideas about yourself because there is a certain flavor to them. When we talk about I Amness, we talk about like pure light. And when we talk about ego, we talk about this light already being split up into different colors, maybe similar to a church window. These colors have a certain condition. They will be unique to you, to your ego, to your small self. And people oftentimes get stuck at this very level. When they do this practice, they don't get to the I Amness, but they get stuck at the level of their personality. When you're able to recognize certain qualities in your perceived sense of I Amness, like you're feeling inferior or superior, you might feel really good and uplifted, or even bad and heavy. Whatever it is, it refers more to your ego than your I Amness. It will feel quite familiar to you, like, this is what it feels to be me. But it's only a certain quality of your ego coming up. So let us not stop there. When you come upon these objects, these identifications, don't stop there. Just inquire further into your I Amness and ask yourself, what's the very thing that is recognizing this? And who am I beyond this identification? And if you do this, you start sensing into your I Amness. Your I Amness is more like the light from where everything comes from. It's like pure existence, not stained with anything. It can also be viewed as the very act of looking, seeing, sensing itself. So when you do this practice, it may be that your landing place for what you think your I Amness is becomes subtler and subtler and subtler. At first you may land on or abide on a very concrete sense you have about yourself. But then you recognize, I'm aware of this feeling. But who is the one that's aware? Then you let this object, this feeling go, and you turn your awareness to an even more subtle object that feels like your I Amness. And you just keep repeating that. You never get stuck at a certain feeling. You curiously inquire into your sense of I Amness. What's the most basic feeling that tells you that you are? That's why it's quite similar to the practice of self-inquiry. It's about inquiring into your true nature, into your true self, into your I Amness, with an open mind that doesn't attach to anything or identifies with anything. So you don't get stuck, but you go deeper and deeper. You let go of all that's false and just try to return to who you really are, beyond all of these veils. And you don't do that in order to understand something or realize something or get enlightened, because this would be attaching to a desire to understand, to seeking. So your only job is to sense into your I Amness, to return to your true self. And you do that again and again and again, and you try that in every moment of your life, whether you sit in meditation, or you go to work, or in any other life situation, basically. It's also important to not overthink it, because our egos like to have an agenda. They like to do something to figure something out. And this practice only means returning to your I Amness and abiding there. That's it. This is actually very boring for our ego, and it will come up with various ideas about this practice. Ideas about realizing something, or ideas about how you're doing it in a very wrong way and you are unsure about it. So don't hold yourself back with these thoughts or doubts. If doubts come in, or if any other story you tell yourself why not to abide in your I Amness, just see it as a wave arising from a vast ocean. The ocean is always there, but the wave is only temporary. So no matter what story you tell yourself, no matter how important it seems in this very moment, just look at it from the view of being the ocean. The wave will disappear anyway. So there's nothing to figure out about it. There's no reason to follow these ideas of the wave. You can simply look at it and disregard it, turning your attention back to your I Amness. And when you do this practice, the devil will come with all his might. Remember the awakening story of the Buddha, where Mara, the devil basically, came upon him trying all possible ways to get him off his path. And we are not talking about the devil in a red costume here. We are talking about our egoic tendencies, whatever they may be. Fear, greed, desire, whatever. Therefore, you will come upon many ideas that suggest you take it easy. You don't need to do this. You won't get anything from doing this. And you simply look at these ideas once they come up, you see them, and then just you reorient your awareness towards the I Amness. You don't even need to resolve these impulses. You don't need to let them go or force yourself to accept them. All this happens by itself if you just acknowledge them, that they are there. But then you turn around and sense into your I Amness, into your presence again. So the instruction for this practice is very simple. Sense into your I Amness and abide in it. Or in Zen, we would say, return to your true self. And that's it. There is no, then you do this or that or whatever. No, you just do that. Because only our egos want a more complicated practice, something where they can achieve something. But here we turn our awareness from these egoic tendencies, from our false ideas, to the very sense of being here right now, which for the ego is very boring. So if you feel that this is very boring, if you feel you don't get anything from this practice, you are on a very good way. Just continue. From moment to moment, only return to your I Amness. And sure, you can do this only when you sit in meditation for 10 minutes a day, but this is not a very earnest and sincere practice. It's maybe only like taking a short vacation, but this vacation will come to an end for sure. So if you are completely earnest and sincere, you practice it 24 hours every day. What does that mean? From moment to moment. Just right now. Just return to your true self. Alright, I hope this clarified a few questions about this practice. And if you haven't returned to your I Amness yet, make sure to do that right now. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you found this interesting. If you have a question or feedback, please let me know in the comments. I wish you all the best. Your friend of the way. Bye.